You know, I've been sitting here trying to figure out how to do the review on this gun for, I don't know, the last couple months at least. I don't want to review it and come off like, I'm just hating on Smith & Wesson or the M&P line in general, because realistically nothing could be further from the truth. This metal M&P 2.0 Competitor, it's a great gun and it handles really well. Not only is it accurate, but I feel like it is the best looking striker fired pistol on the market, hands down. The problem is this gun is not what we're being told that it is. The reality here is that the Competitor, for as good of a gun as it is, it's really more of a marketing gimmick than the competition gun that it's being positioned as. We can start with the finish that was put on it. Sure, that tungsten looks great. I have Cerakoted dozens of guns in that color. H237 tungsten. It's a decent finish, but it's not something that I would ever put on a gun that's going to be used and abused. Guns like carry pistols or competition pistols, they need more protection than what the H series of Cerakote can offer. That's why one of the first things that I did after I took the Competitor out for its initial testing was strip it down and recoat it. E210 Moss, for those of you that are wondering. I've done these comparisons in other videos before, and the E series or Elite series from Cerakote tends to take 2 to 3 times the amount of abuse that the H series will. The thing is though, the H series, it's the one that has all the fancy colors. So yeah, that's obviously why Smith & Wesson used the H series for the Competitor. You know what though? It's fine. I like this color a lot better and it's going to last me longer. Not only that, but because I do my own Cerakote, I saved myself anywhere between $200 to $300 from having to have someone else do it. I'll tell you this much though, it needed it. My initial range trip with the gun, I maybe put 5 mags through it. When I got it home, tore it down, cleaned it all up, there were several spots where the finish was already flaking and wearing through. The next thing on my list is the competition Magwell. Now, it's not horrible, and I am glad that Smith & Wesson put one on this gun. Honestly, it should have been heavier. Aluminum was a really strange choice for a Magwell for this. I, of course, fixed that by going over to Floyd's Custom Shop and ordering one of their limited production brass Magwells for this gun. Not only did I order that one, but I also ordered a backup Magwell. It is the conceal carry. It's a little bit more streamlined, and I have plans for that one down the road. Of course, while I was on the Floyd site, I ordered a bunch of these +6 mag extensions. You can never have too many of those. So the brass Magwell, it is considerably heavier than an aluminum one, and it does make a big difference in how this gun handles. Putting a brass Magwell on this gun is something that if Smith & Wesson was really serious about making a competition gun, they would have done right out of the gate. Most competition shooters will tell you that the heavier the gun, the better, for the most part. It helps stabilize the gun and absorb quite a bit of recoil. Depending on where you add that weight, it can do a lot for you. The Magwell is a great place to add a little bit of weight. Thus, why a lot of Magwells are made out of either brass or tungsten. That's why I feel like it was kind of a strange choice to make this frame out of aluminum instead of steel. The weight difference between the polymer and metal frame M&P, it's really minimal. On paper, it's like an ounce or something. Now in reality, the two guns, they don't really handle that much differently. I can swap my 4-inch Floyd's Custom slide and barrel between its frame and the metal frame, and honestly, not really tell the difference for the most part. They handle very similarly. The only difference that I really feel is that with this metal frame being just a little bit longer, I gain a little bit of room for my pinky in comparison to my polymer frame. Now, if this were a full-size 5-inch frame, then that would be exactly the same. But in terms of handling, I couldn't tell the difference. What Smith & Wesson should have done was make a real metal gun, a real competition gun, something like the Canik Rival S. And hopefully we'll be doing some work with that gun here on the channel soon. We'll see how that goes. The Canik Rival S, it is a hard gun to get a hold of. I'm not going to hold my breath, but I'm hoping to see one here in my office in the near future. I'll tell you this much though, Canik has their shit together. If you've ever shot a CZ, you know the advantages of having an all steel gun. Those guns handle phenomenally, and a lot of that has to do with the steel frame. Hell, I have a double stack Rock Island 1911 chambered in 9mm. All steel, all business. And it's one of the smoothest shooting guns that I own. Making this gun out of aluminum, it was a way to make a metal gun without really being serious about making a metal gun. Best of all, most people don't even know any better. And when you get a handful of influencers talking it up, no one cares or even asks questions. That doesn't mean the competitor is trash. It just means that it falls short of what it's supposed to be. It's like putting a spoiler on a trash Honda Civic. Look, bro, you're still in a Honda Civic. It ain't no Ferrari. And that's what we've got right here. Okay, let's see, what else? Still not a fan of the core optic system. Those plates are loose and sloppy, and I don't like them. That's why instead of using Smith & Wesson's plates, what I have here is an adapter plate from C&H Precision. I'll leave a link to them below as well as a discount code if you want to go check them out. Now, for those of you who are getting ready to ask, yes, I have tried the DPP plates from Amazon. You guys kept blowing me up in the comment section about them, so I figured I might as well order one and at least check them out. Sure, they are cheap. But you know what? Mine came in, I took a good look at it, I threw it in the trash and never looked back. I use those C&H plates because they are precision cut. They're strong, they don't have the flex that the DPP plates have. The edges are all smooth. I like the C&H plates, I trust the C&H plates, that's why I use them whenever a plate is necessary. I use the plate on this gun to hold the new Holosun 507 comp. This one is in green. Great optic. It has quickly become one of my absolute favorites. I'll either leave a card or a link or whatever to that review if you want to see that. I think the thing that really grinds my gears about the competitor is the trigger. I bought this gun expecting a smooth trigger, a light trigger. It's marketed as a competition gun. I expected a short take-up and reset like you would expect on a competition gun. Something very similar to a 1911 or 2011 trigger. Now I know, obviously, mechanically speaking, that's an impossibility, and it's a lot to ask to have a striker-fired pistol have a trigger like this. When I started seeing other channels talk about the competitor and the trigger on it, I thought for sure Smith & Wesson had done something special. Maybe gave it something with the same characteristics as the M&P 2.0 with that Apex trigger. All these people just salivating over the trigger on the competitor, you know, I just expected a lot more. Here's the truth though. This trigger right here, it is the same operationally and mechanically as the 10mm M&P. It's the same exact trigger that's in all of the M&Ps. 9mm, 10mm, 45. Every caliber, every barrel length. They all have the same one. There is nothing special or different or competition about the trigger in the competitor. Sure, it's leaps and bounds improved from the old hinge style triggers that they all came with, but again, this is just the same exact trigger they're pumping out in all their other guns. Now it's great for like a concealed carry 9mm or like it's in my 10mm that I have. That gun for me is a hiking gun and it's fine. I don't mind it at all. But you know what? The amount of take-up that there is in this trigger, it's almost as shameful as the reviewers who refuse to call it out because they don't want to bite the hand that feeds them. I expect that from people who are sponsored from Smith & Wesson. What's disappointing to me though is seeing people who have review channels not even sponsored by Smith & Wesson. People who actually shoot competitively but aren't sponsored by Smith & Wesson. All giving this gun their stamp of approval and talking about how amazing the trigger on it is. It's deceptive. The competitor has the same old trigger that's on the rest of the M&P lineup. It's not a bad trigger at all. For a standard gun, for a competition gun, this trigger is trash. For those of you feverishly typing down in the comments section about trigger snobs, or how your trigger doesn't matter in a real world self-defense situation, or any other number of hate comments, I'm not sorry. I expect a lot more from a gun marketed as a competition gun. I just do. The reality is you can buy a standard 5-inch polymer M&P. You can get a Floyd's Custom Magwell, mag extensions, Apex flat face trigger. By the time you're said and done with, you've got a much better performing gun for not too much more than what you're going to spend to buy the competitor. Not to mention, if you can find a Canik Rival S, those guns retail at the same price as the M&P Competitor, and those guns are a monster. They're everything that this gun should have been, but isn't. I just feel like if you're looking for a gun to use in a competition type setting like the name Competitor suggests, Smith & Wesson fell short in a few very key areas. Now, it's not like I hate this gun though, I really don't. I know so far it's a lot of negatives. The reason that I bought this gun is because I am a long-time fan of the M&P. It may not sound like it, but I really am. Not only am I a fan, but I already had a handful of these 17 round mags, so it just made sense to buy an M&P. Me, I've always loved the way that the M&P fits in my hand. It's comfortable and it just feels right. That super aggressive grip texture that came on the 2.0, I absolutely love that. I'm really glad that they didn't mess around with that texture on these new guns. I like that they added 2 mag releases to the packaging for the Competitor. Not only does it come with the extended mag release already mounted to the frame, but if you want something that's more like the standard mag release, that one is in the package as well. So if you decide that you want to use this gun for, concealed carry or daily carry or whatever, you can go ahead and swap that mag release out so you don't have any issues where you're accidentally dropping a mag. These iron sights, blacked out rear and green fiber optic front. Not only that, but I think the front has some tritium in there because I've noticed in the dark they do actually glow just a little bit. Now, if you know me, if you know my channel at all, you know that I prefer a red dot. If I absolutely have to use iron sights, I am all about that blacked out rear and fiber optic front. The fiber on the Competitor, it's clean, it's clear, it's actually really bright. Also, I'm really glad that they used green instead of red. I'm not going to go dig it out, but the Competitor comes with the most massive pistol case I've seen in a long time. Inside that case, it comes with 4 mags, which is great. Of course, if you live in a free state, you don't end up with 4 bullshit 10-round mags like I got. Again, M&P user for years, so I've got a stockpile of these things. I've actually never even loaded the ones that came with this gun. I'm not a big fan of 10-round mags, but I should actually start using those for the range just so I can kind of save wear and tear on my good magazines. For those of you who aren't living under communist rule, you can expect 4 17-round mags with this gun. Like I said, if you head over to Floyd's Custom Shop, you can get these +6s, which is going to give you 23 rounds per magazine. Inside of the case, it's got all of the paperwork and cable lock and different size back straps for everybody. All the paperwork that nobody reads and the stuff that nobody cares about. This gun, the gun itself, is smooth shooting. I found it to be extremely accurate. Not only that, but it's also very reliable. I've yet to encounter a single issue with reliability with the Competitor. This frame, it does have slightly different measurements than a polymer version. Now, a lot of people have said that their metal frame does fit the holsters for their polymer frame. I've had a really hard time there because the companies that I tend to buy my holsters from, they have a lot of definition in them. And because of that little bit of variation in the metal frame versus polymer, none of my holsters would fit. For those of you looking for holster options, I have 2 of them that I really like and I use pretty frequently for the metal M&P. Both of those options were made by a small company called Packin Holsters. I'll leave that information down in the description, of course. Email, let them know what you want, and they will go through every option available to make sure you're getting exactly what it is that you need. They've made me a handful of holsters for different guns, including my 10mm M&P, and I've been thrilled with every one of them. Over here, I've got the outside the waistband version. This one is set up so that I can put it on my G-Code battle belt. Having this holster will come in handy if I ever do decide to actually start shooting some competition stuff. There's a weekly pistol league here locally that I want to join, but to be honest, life has just been crazy the last year and a half or so, but I'm hoping in the very near future that I can start doing that. The other holster is this guy here. This is an inside the waistband holster. I had to make this with the dragon scale gray material. I really like this. All right, you guys, I'm out here today getting a little range time in with the metal M&P 2.0 Competitor, and I am drawing from the Packin Holsters inside the waistband dragon scale holster. Really kind of loving this thing. Some may think that carrying a 5-inch gun inside the waistband is a little bit excessive. I say it's just right. Now, I do carry the 5-inch Competitor on and off, but what I really like is taking the 4-inch slide and adding it to that metal frame and then carrying this way. It's a really weird feeling combination, but you know what? It's oddly impressive to shoot. Using the inside the waistband holster from Packin Holsters, I can carry this gun as the 4-inch barrel or the 5-inch. Both of them conceal quite well. So, is this a competition gun? I'm going to say not really, but it's a good place to start if you want to build one. It's also not a combat pistol either. I mean, yeah, these slide lightning cuts, they look really good. I love them. But as far as a combat pistol, I think I'd want a solid slide, something where I don't have to potentially worry about debris getting caught in there and causing malfunction. No, that's not something that I've had happen with this gun, but in order for me to actually call it a combat pistol, it would have to have a solid slide. Honestly, I don't know what to call this gun. For me, it's just a range gun. I shoot it every single time that I go to the range, and even though I have some issues with the way it's marketed, I can't get enough of the Competitor. Sure, I would change a few things about it if I were in a power position over at Smith & Wesson. At the same time, I really don't have any buyer's remorse with it the way that I have a few other guns that I own. As of this video, I have 1,100 rounds through the Competitor. 115, 124, and 147. Mostly AAC because, you know, they're great ammo and at a reasonable price. I've also shot a little bit of various self-defense ammo through it, and so far I haven't seen any malfunctions with it, no matter what I put through the gun. Look, if, like me, the M&P Competitor caught your eye, and you absolutely have to add it to your collection, I think you should find one, buy it, do the background check so you can get it to the range as soon as possible. Now, if you're looking for an actual competition type gun, sure, this could be it. There are better options out there for nearly the same price. But yeah, I mean, you could buy the Competitor and, you know, get a holster and pretty much get started. As a range gun, it's incredible. Sure, it's no 2011, but for a striker-fired pistol, the Competitor shoots really well. Change the finish, add an optic, wait for apex to make a trigger for it. Boom, you're in business. Now, I'm going to keep shooting it. I'm going to keep upgrading and testing it like I do all my guns. I want to order an Apex barrel, and I want to send that off to Floyd's and have them port it. I want to do a little testing between stock and ported with this gun. I've got a set of DPM springs already for the Competitor. I just haven't put them in yet. I got a whole bunch of things that I want to try with the Competitor. I'm probably not going to do quite the in-depth series that I've done with the Hellcat, but I do have a lot of stuff lined up for this gun. So stick with me. Keep an eye out for that content as I keep making videos. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you back here real soon.